Hey Fantasy fans, it's time for another episode of the Fantasy Outlaws. I'm Heidi Fang here along with Ed Graney, the Review Journal sports columnist, and Adam Hill for the Golden Knights and MMA. We cover all the action here at the Review Journal, and this is the latest episode of the Fantasy Outlaws. We've got great picks lined up for you, and lately Adam Hill...
I don't know if they're great.
Adam Hill's been killing it.
Adam Hill's been doing well. He'll be the first to tell you that on Twitter.
He's been killing it. He picked last week Rob Gronkowski to be a bust. I thought he was crazy, but yet here he is coming up with someone who yet again underperformed. The week before he said James Conner. He was the breakout running back for the Steelers. He had a huge game. Yeah, he's called them both. So now we got to go to Adam first to start off the day here, to start off this episode. We got to go to Adam and say, Adam, who is your big star of the week, whether it's a waiver wire pick, a bust, or a breakout?
You know what? I'm going to go with the guy who I loved before the season. I love even more now. Now, if you remember, I said Deshaun Watson was a bust. I thought that was a guy not to draft this year, for sure.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I said Deshaun Watson's a bust. I did not like him coming into this year. I thought there was going to be a regression. I also thought that he wasn't going to be fully healthy. So far, he has not lived up to expectations. If you drafted him early, you're probably not happy. But I did love Will Fuller coming into this year because Deshaun Watson loves to throw to Will Fuller. Hopkins draws a lot of attention away. Fuller broke out last week. We saw that he was fully healthy. He's a guy that will break out again. That is who Deshaun Watson goes to all the time. Will Fuller, if he's on your bench, get him in the lineup. He is a breakout candidate once again. He's going to be a star. As long as Deshaun Watson's out there, Will Fuller needs to be in your lineup.
All right, well, if we're going with breakouts, I'm going to give you mine. That's Tevin Coleman from the Falcons. They have a great game against the Saints, who haven't really shown me that they have the same defensive unit that they did as of last season. And Coleman, he put up over 100 yards last week against the Panthers, and I think this week he'll continue that, especially because Devonta Freeman is still nursing that knee injury. Ed, who are you going with this week? Who's your breakout?
I just want to welcome everybody to our new Starbucks fantasy site here. This is what the fantasy is. We love hats at the Review Journal. We're all wearing hats. Always wear hats. It's a great thing. Along with the T-shirts. This is fantasy football talk. And the Frappuccino, you see that it's gone already. I actually go breakout this week with Kenyan Drake. You and I will be at that game in Miami. We're leaving shortly from Miami. Couple reasons. Back-to-back road games for the Raiders. They go from Mountain Time now to East Coast Time. Not good for the body clocks. 2 weeks ago, Todd Gurley in the second half got going. Last week, Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman got going in Denver in the second half. I know that Kenyan Drake's still splitting time with Frank Gore, but I just have a feeling until the Raiders' defense doesn't wilt in a second half of a game, I think running backs are going to get going against them. So I'll say Kenyan Drake, and I think you and I will be there to see it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be there. I don't know if we'll see it because Adam obviously is kicking our tails in this thing. But I believe Kenyan Drake's a good pick this week.
You did like Will Fuller, too. So
I did.
He's got Will Fuller.
Well, I like where Will Fuller went to college, but yes, I also like Will Fuller.
All right, on the flip side of that, we've got our breakouts down. Who are we going with for a bust this week? Ed, let's go to you.
Well, it's crazy that we're going to be at the same game because not only will Kenyan Drake be doing great on one side, Amari Cooper will not be doing well on the other side. Miami's been really good against the pass. The guy, he's matching up against corners who are allowing, I think, like 3 to 4 yards a catch. No one has caught over 52 yards in receiving yards against the Dolphins. And Amari Cooper disappeared Rams, came back last week with a lot of dink and dunks. I actually think Carr's going to try to air it out more, which brings Amari Cooper's numbers back to the fold. So I think Amari Cooper kind of is this inconsistent guy all year, and I think this will be a down week for Amari Cooper with the Raiders.
Adam, who do you have going as a bust, somebody that you want to keep on the bench?
I'm going to stay in the same state, the same position, and I'm going to go with Deshaun Jackson. Listen, everybody's freaking out about him right now. Everybody's picking him up like it's 5 years ago. Stop it. It's fool's gold. It's not going to continue. If you think Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to keep doing what he's doing, you are wrong, and you probably haven't watched football for very long. This is what he does. He has 400-yard games, and then he has nothing for 3 weeks. He's going to regress. There's no question. Deshaun Jackson will not keep catching 75-yard touchdowns every week. Don't freak out about him. And actually, if you have him, trade him now. Trade him at his highest value. He's not going to be worth any more than this at any time in the season. So trade Deshaun Jackson and get him on your bench if you have him in your lineup.
Wow, you're going with that. And Fitzmagic fizzles. Have you seen that chart where it goes in a circle and it shows like the cycle of Ryan Fitzpatrick. It goes from great to nothing to sad to happy, and then it has all these emotions on it. It's great. Look it up on the internet. It's a great meme. I'm going to go with David Johnson. The Cardinals have just been... Ed's got him. That means Ed's got him.
That's brutal. Brutal, that guy.
You know what? You want to trade him? I'll take him.
I got him in my other league, not this league.
I'll take him off
It's totally brutal, that guy.
And I think it's going to get worse because they've got the Bears this week. They're facing Khalil Mack. He's going to cause some issues here with that line, and I think that David Johnson gets stuck behind it and he goes nowhere. I'm guessing maybe he has like a 30-yard game on some kind of like 15 attempts or something like that. So keep him on your bench. Sorry, Ed.
That team needs to get to the kid, the UCLA, the quarterback quickly. We know what Sam Bradford can do. The only thing I think that saves David Johnson, well, they're not a very good team, but if they can get to Josh Rosen and allow him to maybe throw it downfield and excite people, maybe David Johnson. David Johnson's been horrible. It's horrible right now for me.
And I think that
I'm
team,
2-0 in that league, by the way.
And I think that team stays 0-3, the Cardinals, and the David Johnson, again, stymied behind the line of scrimmage is what my thoughts are going to be. And for the waiver wire this week, I'm going to tell you another running back that I think is going to have a great game, and I think that's Gio Bernard. I really like that. I think he kind of went non-drafted in a lot of leagues. I don't think a lot of people thought of him as a backup for Joe Mixon, but here he is coming up. Another big game here for them against the Panthers, and I think that with Joe Mixon out, that Gio has a great game. Adam, who you got?
Well, I certainly would advise you, if Gio Bernard is available, get him immediately. But I'm going to go with another running back who's in a great spot this week in Corey Clement. He's got guys in front of him in Ajayi and Sproles who both are banged up. They may play. They may try to go, especially in Ajayi's case. But Clement has been the most reliable weapon anyway in the backfield. They love getting him carries. They love getting him touches. And it's a prime spot for him to be involved, especially if those other guys are banged up. So make sure you get him.
Do you think on that note that Wendell Smallwood might take a little bit away from Corey Clement, just being that he might play that Sproles role where he gets like more of the passes?
Sure, a little bit, but they've showed that they really want to get Clement involved. They want him to be the guy when Ajayi is not there. Even when Ajayi is there for some reason, they're getting Clement a lot of touches and getting Ajayi a lot of rest. So definitely make sure you've got a piece of him at least in your leagues.
All right, Ed, who's the waiver wire pick of the week?
I'm going with one of those exciting positions called place kicker. Dan Bailey, I have no idea why he didn't have a job until now. But as the kickers continued to fail last week, we knew he would land somewhere. He landed in a great spot, in my opinion. Controlled conditions in Minneapolis. I'm a huge Cowboy fan, so I know a lot about Dan Bailey. Probably his worst year statistically last year before he got hurt, but he still had 4 or 5 over 50. He was still like 4 or 5 from 45 in. I think he's terrific. I actually think, because I had Zerline in both my leagues, so I had to drop, I got Bailey as both pickups. I actually think at the end of the year, it's a huge statement here at Starbucks this morning on a Friday. I think Dan Bailey would be the best fantasy kicker in the league.
All right, so there you have it. Keep an eye out for all of our work with the Fantasy Outlaws. You can give us all a follow at Ed Graney on Twitter, at Adam Hill, LVRJ, and I'm at Heidi Fang. And again, we'll be back next week with some more options that hopefully keep you up in your leagues and keep your gridiron game strong, folks.
Wear your hats.